Today we're going to be talking about the mind-body connection and what exercises you can use to connect more deeply with how you're thinking and feeling, both emotionally and physically, maybe even spiritually, to just connect with the here and now and what is happening in your body, what is happening in your mind, what are happening with your thoughts and your feelings, etc. And this connection really help you with the self-awareness to know how to turn down the volume on some of these thoughts and feelings that you're experiencing, and how you can use your body more effectively to calm your mind. So part of our work together will be around connecting your mind and your body. So where do your emotions get caught up or show up in your body? So it might show up in your heart rate of maybe beating too fast, or in your breathing, where you're breathing too shallowly or too rapidly, or you're holding your breath. It may show up in your body temperature, feeling flush or sweating or perspirating. May show up in your ability to think clearly, or being foggy-headed, or having difficulty concentrating or focusing. It may show up in your body tension, feeling very tense, your muscles being tight. Might show up in your digestion, of having a dry mouth or a queasy stomach, or having excessive appetite or no appetite at all. Or it just might show up in a general sense of feeling stressed or anxious, which is our automatic stress response: fight, flight, fold, freeze, feeling a general sense of dread or danger. So I will teach you how to recognize these things, and also the techniques that are throughout this webinar are also offered to help you not only engage with how you're feeling, but some techniques you can use to kind of turn down the volume on some of these responses. And with practice and with patience, over time, you will learn how to be calmer, cooler, more collected, more relaxed. Before we begin, I just want you to briefly understand what might be going on with some of the anxiety and stress you've been experiencing. So there's something called the sympathetic versus parasympathetic nervous system. So our body has to be prepared to protect us in the event of danger, but sometimes that can be misread by our body, or our experiences in life, such as trauma, may make it overactivated. So our sympathetic nervous system is the sense of fight, flight, fold, freeze, and it's where we're kind of amped up, full of adrenaline, full of cortisol, and ready to take action. So we may be on edge, irritable, tense, etc. Our parasympathetic nervous system is that sense of being restored to feeling calm, cool, collected, able to sleep, able to digest our food, able to kind of rest and relax, etc. So unfortunately, when the sympathetic nervous system is turned on, or maybe become in more of a chronic state, then the parasympathetic nervous system is turned down or lowered. So we don't have access to some of the more feel-good chemicals in our body, such as dopamine or oxytocin or endorphins, etc. So a lot of the things that we'll be working on is turning down the sympathetic nervous system and trying to turn on or turn up the parasympathetic nervous system. So lowering our stress response and increasing our ability to rest, relax, and feel calm and safe. Okay, so let's get started with breath work. It's really important to breathe properly. So we want to make sure that we're not holding our breath on one end and that we're not hyperventilating when we get upset on the other end. So we want to breathe nice, deep, quality breaths. So what we want to do is we want to breathe from our belly, way down in our belly versus up high in our chest. So sometimes if you were breathing, you might notice that your shoulders rise and fall. Really want your belly to go in and out. I understand that some of my clients might be pregnant, so we want to pay attention to how comfortable we feel. And obviously when we're having a lot of weight around our belly, this can impact our ability to breathe. So we want to breathe in from our belly, and we want to be able to feel our belly rise and fall versus our shoulders rise and fall. We also want to pay attention to the pace of our breath. So there's usually a count that's different for in and out. So let's say breathing in through your nose with a count of 4, pausing, and breathing out with a count of 6 through your mouth. So the breath in through your nose is shorter than the breath out through your mouth, which is longer. For some people, it's like a 3 to 5 ratio. Some people, it's 4 to 6. Some people are able to do 5 to 7. It really depends on your own lung capacity. And again, if you're pregnant, sometimes we struggle a little bit with our breathing just because we're carrying the extra weight around our lungs and our organs. So let's practice this. Let's breathe in through our nose, out through our mouth. Breathe in through our nose, out through our mouth, in through our nose, out through our mouth. And make sure you're not getting lightheaded. You might want to sit and do this comfortably in a chair. Make sure you're not lightheaded. And you can do this really anywhere. You can do this at night if you're having trouble sleeping. You can do this when you're getting frustrated with the kids. You can do this just to kind of reset throughout the day, taking nice, healthy, calming, cleansing breaths. Okay, so let's move on to mindfulness. So mindfulness has a couple components to it. Primarily, it's about creating practices that help you get back into the here and now or the present moment versus being too far into the past or too far into the future. So as close to the here and now as you're capable of doing. And we utilize this by cultivating practices around engaging our 5 senses. So our sense of sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing or sound. Sometimes clients like to create a kit that helps them, that's handy nearby, that they can grab at any time they need to practice this. So for sight, you can either use things that are in your environment, or you can have a picture of something or something queued up on your computer or your phone that you can focus on, that to you kind of embodies or represents someplace that is calming to you. Some clients like a picture of the beach or a picture of the mountains or a picture of a place that they've gone on vacation that they felt especially calm and relaxed. A sense of smell. Sometimes you can utilize something as simple as like a peppermint candy or something that has a nice aroma. If you had some fresh herbs, even pulling something out of your spice drawer that is like cinnamon or anise or something that you like to smell, you could utilize that, or you could use a favorite perfume, or you could use something like essential oils. For taste, I like to use something like a lozenge. There's things like root beer. There's also a set of candies that I get here locally at Fresh Market, which are the Tory and Howard's. And they have something like, orange and honey or clementine or grapefruit, etc. They have a nice tart taste. And one of the benefits of using something like that is oftentimes when we're stressed, we have like a dry mouth because part of the sympathetic nervous system is it goes to the primary organs in our body that help us to fight, flight, during the fight or flight response. So it can shut down our salivary glands and other of our organs to prepare us for what it thinks is a threat. And by engaging your salivary glands, by putting something that immediately brings them to life, like something that's tart, then that automatically starts to lower some of that automatic stress response. I like to think, or I like to say, make sure you don't overutilize this. So you can have these things only for your mindfulness practices so that you don't become like too accustomed to them. So this should be a special practice. So the things in your kit might be something that you only use for mindfulness. Touch, you could have something like a rough stone that you could move around in your hands, something soft from your baby maybe, like a soft blanket. You could use hand lotion, just something that engages your touch. And hearing, you might want to create a special playlist of meditation music, Gregorian chants, spa music, etc. Something, or something that has a lot of different variation to it, like a guitar, a flute, a piano, something you can focus individually on the sounds to really capture your brain's attention and really focus on each beat of the music. So how would we pull all this together? So depending on the amount of time that you have, you might take 5 or 10 minutes. And you would just go through all of these senses. So you would focus intently on the picture, almost as if you're trying to memorize it so that you could recite it to someone else. Notice the blues in the picture. Notice the greens in the picture. Notice the browns in the picture, or the yellow, or the different elements, the trees, the water, the reflection of the light on the water, etc. You can also do this in a room. So you could notice everything that's green in a room, everything that's yellow, everything that's brown, everything that's white. And just notice the different things in the room. For smell, you would just linger with this aroma. So if it's something that you especially like, again, slowly bring in the scent, almost as if you're trying to memorize it. Stop, savor it, reflect on it. The taste, notice what it feels like to have the candy in your mouth. Try to describe what the taste feels like. Does it represent a color? Does it represent an element in nature? Does it how does it feel to move around on your tongue? Touch. Try to slowly maybe use the lotion to massage your hands or move the stone from your left hand to your right. Rolling it around, what does it feel like to roll across your skin? And then back to hearing, where you would maybe listen to the music, try to follow the words if it's a spoken song. So follow each individual word, like you're trying to capture every word as it goes, or the note of a piano, or the chirp of a bird in a spa music. So the whole intent of all these 5 senses is to really engage with them, to really focus in on them, to draw yourself into the here and now of those experiences, and to shut out the rest of the world for a little 5 or 10 minute getaway. Okay, now we're going to talk about progressive muscle relaxation. So when we're feeling tense or anxious or worried, we may not notice it, but oftentimes we capture our anxiety or worry in our bodies. So stress almost like gets caught up in our nervous system. So paying attention to each element of our body can be really helpful to release that tension. So there's something called a progressive muscle relaxation technique, and you can do this depending on how much time you have. So if you have a little bit of time, you can do this, maybe 15 or 20 minutes, or if you have a short amount of time, you can do it in 5 minutes. So you could abbreviate this version depending on the amount of time that you have. The nuance of it is really getting connected to your body, zone by zone, and learning to relax, right? So we're going to start at the bottom of our feet, and we're going to work our way up. Sometimes it can be helpful to just kick off your shoes. So if you have your shoes off, you could begin by wiggling your toes, trying to separate your toes, wiggling them around, and then scrunch up your toes, and then release. Scrunch up your toes, and then release. Scrunch up your toes, and then release. Lift your heels up off the ground and feel yourself pressing the ball of your foot into the ground. Put it down. Press up. Put it down. Focusing on what it feels, just to concentrate your attention on the balls of your feet. Put them down. And just draw your attention to the arch of your foot. Just noticing it. Just notice. Focusing your attention on that part of your foot. Press your heels into the ground and lift up your toes. Then relax. Press your heels down. Then relax. Press your heels down. Then relax. Lift one foot up and rotate your foot around. Rotate that foot, releasing all the tension in your ankle. Just rotating your foot. Return that foot to the ground. Lift your other foot and rotate your foot around. First rotating clockwise, stopping, spinning it. Again, counterclockwise. Noticing what it feels like, the difference in your body. Return to lifting your toes up and kind of flexing the muscles in your calves. Flex them up, pause, feel what that feels like. Down, flex up, feel what that feels like. Press down, flex up, feel what that feels like. Press down. Now, squeeze your thighs together and concentrate on your knees. Press your knees together, relax. Press your knees together, relax. Press your knees together, relax. Extend your right leg out, concentrating on the knee, maybe putting your hand on the knee, feeling what your kneecap feels like. Put it down and relax. Lift up your left leg. Put it down. Go back to the right. Lift up your leg. Feel that kneecap. Maybe give it a little massage. Down. Bring out your left knee. Rub your kneecap. Put that down. Now, squeeze your legs together, concentrating a little higher than you did before, and release. Squeeze your thighs together, concentrating what that feels like, and release. Maybe place your hands on top of your thighs as you do this and feel and notice the difference. And release. And one more time, pulling them together and then releasing. Now moving up to your hips, squeeze one side of your hips together and then release. Squeeze the other hip muscle and then release. Squeeze your left and release. Squeeze your right and release. Squeeze your left and release. One more time, your right and release. Just squeeze your hips together and release. Almost like you're trying to lift yourself up and release. Squeeze together and release. Squeeze together and release. Now just notice your stomach. Maybe put your hands behind your lower back and put your fingers along your spine and just rub your back. Try to release the tension in your back. Hands up and down, up and down. Rub your hands across your belly. First up and down, and then left and right. Up and down, left and right. Notice the sensation as you run your hands across your skin. Move up to your shoulders. Lift your shoulders up to your ears and release like you're almost like a puppet. Lift up your shoulders and release. Lift your shoulders and release. Bring your hands up, your shoulders up, and let them come down. Bring your shoulders up and let them come down. Bring your shoulders up and let them come down. Lift up your right arm and slowly bring it down. Lift up your left arm and slowly bring it down, returning it to your lap. Bring up your right arm. Stretch as high as you can reach comfortably. Slowly bring it down. Bring up your left arm as high as you can reach. And then bring it down comfortably. And one more time, bring up your right arm as high as you can reach. And then bring it down. Bring up your left arm as high as you can really, and then bring it down. Now we're down to your hands. Just take your hands and bring them out. Stretch out your fingers as wide as they will go and bring them back. Stretch them out as wide as they can go and bring them back. Bring them out as wide as they can go and bring them back. Make a fist and then relax. Make a fist and then relax. Make a fist and then relax. Take your thumb from your right hand and press it into the palm of your left hand. Take your thumb and squeeze it into the palm of your left hand. Now release. Take your left hand and press it into the palm of your right hand and release. Apply the pressure again and then release. Apply the pressure again and then release. Now take one hand and just start at the palm and just gently but firmly bring out your palm across your fingers. So from your palm, just gently squeeze out through your fingers, one by one, firmly. Nice sense of pressure across your palm of your hand, across your fingers. Palm across each finger, one by one, one by one. Now the other hand, thumb and fingers across, running across your palm, and then your pinky finger, your ring finger, your middle finger, your index finger, and your thumb. Now let's go back up to our neck. And before we do, just sort of like do a circle 8 with your shoulders, almost like you're doing a dance. Roll one shoulder up and around, the other shoulder up and around, one shoulder up and around, the other shoulder up and around, one up and down, almost like pedals of a bicycle, one up, one down, one up, one down. As comfortably as you can, look to the left and stretch as far as you can comfortably. Back to center. Look right as far as you can comfortably and come back to center. Left as far as you can. Center. Right as far as you can and center. Tilt your head left slowly and comfortably. Tilt back to center. Tilt your head right, your ear to your shoulder as comfortably as you can. Back to center. Left as comfortably as you can. Back to center. And right as comfortably as you can. Back to center. Now, open your mouth wide and then relax your jaw. Open your mouth wide but comfortably and then back to center. Open your mouth wide but comfortably and then back to closed. Stretch your mouth left. Stretch your mouth right. Stretch your mouth left. Stretch your mouth right. Stretch your mouth left. Stretch your mouth right. Stretch your mouth left. And stretch your mouth right. Now scrunch up your face, almost like you're crinkling your nose. Then relax. Scrunch up your face. Then relax. Scrunch up your face. And then relax. Open your eyes wide. And then relax. Open your eyes wide. And then relax. Open your eyes wide. And then relax. Now take your hands and just gently put them on top of your head and press down just lightly. and then release. Press down just gently, and then release. Press down gently, and then release. And before we end, just take your sense of concentration and just scan your body now. Starting at the top of your head, slowly scan downward, paying attention to how you're feeling without the tension. What it feels like, any place that you run into any tension, maybe tighten and release one last time to let go of that added tension. Take a couple cleansing breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. And repeat anytime that you need it throughout the day or even at night when you're trying to rest. Okay, now let's move on to grounding or grounded techniques. So grounded techniques, we're really focusing on helping you engage with your body in a way that reminds you where you are, which is in the here and now, not somewhere in the past, not somewhere in the future, but right here. So sometimes really using your body in a way that brings about this awareness can be helpful, especially for clients who struggle with a lot of anxiety. So a common symptom or a common experience that people sometimes provide is that I almost feel like I'm floating outside of my body or kind of getting away from myself in some way. So using these techniques can help you regain a sense of safety and stability and feeling calm and safe in this place. So what you can do is something as simple as kicking off your shoes and really focusing on feeling the ground underneath your feet. So sometimes it can be helpful to stand up and to kind of stomp your feet or stand up and just really kind of press into the ground to feel bigger, to feel more physical. You could, if you're sitting in a chair, concentrate on where your body meets other objects, such as the ground underneath your feet, the chair underneath your backside, the chair behind your back, putting your hands on a armrest and pressing down, touching objects around you, and just really concentrating, being actively engaged in using your mind to focus on what that feels like. What it feels like to be moving your feet underneath the ground, what it feels like to have the wind against your face, what it feels like to have sunshine on your skin, what it feels like to hold an ice cube, what it feels like to have warm water running over your hands, what it feels like even to, you can do this using like a hand washing exercise or in the shower where you mindfully feel what it feels like to have the soap glide over your skin, what it feels like to have the water hitting your skin. Anything that makes you engage with your body can be a good grounding technique. If you feel like you have too much energy to do some of these exercises, what you could do is get moving. So if you have a treadmill, walk comfortably on the treadmill, and while you're doing that, feel what it feels like to have the ground moving underneath your feet. If you have a child, someone of a school age or younger, where you're taking them out for a walk, as you're walking, Feel what it feels like to walk on different surfaces, walk on the cement, walk in the grass. Anything that draws your attention to your body can be helpful. This next exercise comes from the world of self-compassion, which is built on 3 premises. 1, that we should never say anything to ourselves we wouldn't say to someone we love and care for. 2, that we treat ourselves with acts of kindness and compassion. And 3, that sometimes when we get in states of suffering or struggle, it's not because there's a flaw in us, but because that is the nature of life. There are times when we sometimes struggle. And so this right now exercise is where you can place your hands gently crossed over at your heart, pressing in gently, almost as if you are grounding yourselves with your hands. Or you can have your hands even wider spread out, like you're giving yourself a good strong hug. And bringing yourself to the here and now. So it would sound like something like this. Right now, I may be struggling. Right now, I feel anxious. Right now, I feel sad. Right now, I feel stressed. Right now. So focusing on the right now reminds you that it's only now that you're experiencing this. It doesn't mean you're going to experience it forever, but right now, you're going to treat yourself compassionately with how you are feeling. Not trying to change it right now, but just accepting it, acknowledging it, validating it, honoring how you feel, honoring the place that you are in your life right now. Research has shown when we can engage in self-compassion through mindfulness techniques that we're able to do more than we can without these techniques. So it's sort of counterintuitive, but the acceptance actually helps us to move forward. So for right now, utilize these techniques to calm yourself, to be present, to breathe, to release the tension in your body, to return to yourself, to be aware of how you're doing here and now. Be well.